All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at unwrapping this, and we're really going to unwrap two pieces, these two right here, and then we're going to duplicate them all over the place in this video, and we'll take a look at how we can unwrap it. So let's take a look at a quick way to unwrap something that's cube-like. And remember, this has a modifier on it. I'll bring this down to 1. And I'm going to go ahead and hit Shift-D, and then G, and then Y, and just move that over. And then I'm going to hit Option-H on that, and then Shift-H to hide everything. Okay, so here we have our cushion. And I'm going to frame that. And let's go to UV editing mode and take a look at how we can edit this. So let me go to tab, edit mode. And then if it doesn't show up for you, you can hit Alt H. Oh, it looks like it's in face mode. Here, let me hit A and then Alt H. Something else you can do is go to object mode here and then hit Alt H to unhide everything. And this is just if you have the same problem I did. Unselect it and then just select this. And then hit Shift H again, and then we could focus on this. All right, so one of the first things I do is when I'm unwrapping, is I tend to unwrap it with the modifier still on there. It just saves time. So I'm gonna hit U, and then I'm gonna do unwrap. Well, we could try this one. This is something different that I haven't showed you, which is cube projection. And anything that's box shaped, what it'll do is it'll unwrap it in different sections. Like here's the front, and then there's the side and stuff. So let's take a look at what it gives us. So with our move tool selected, I'm going to hit L on anything that's in there, and that'll unwrap these. That'll select, and I click off the individual shells. So this is L like Larry. And I just kind of separate these out so they're not on top of each other after I do a cube projection. And like I said, I do this for anything that's cube shaped like a box or rectangle. And then I take a look at this. And this looks pretty good. This is the front, and then this is the back. Right, if I click on this, and then this is which side. And what we can do is we can use this to sort of unwrap our model, right? So I'm going to hit 2 to go to edge mode. I'm going to select this edge here. And let's say I want to stitch this together. This is just a different way of doing it, where I want to stitch these two sides. So what I can do is hit Shift V or right click and go to stitch, and it'll show me what it wants to stitch. So it's going to move this there, and then this, for some reason, this face needs to be flipped. So it looks like this face could be flipped because it's showing you, if I press enter here, it's burying this face. Let me make sure this is on select tweak mode, maybe. I'll hit 3 to go to face mode. See how it put it underneath there, and it stitched those two sides together, and I don't want that. So I'm going to undo that. Go back a little bit. And let's try this side first, and then we'll move that side manually. We're gonna have to flip this. So I'm gonna hit Shift V, or actually it looks like it's Alt V or Command V, and that looks better. It's gonna move this piece there. So I'm gonna hit Enter. You can see it stitched it. So it took that face, this face here, and it's just kind of cutting it up like you would with a box. Like if you ever seen those where you can make your own paper dice. I'm going to pause the video and just jump to Google and just show you that really quick. So all I did is I typed paper dice in here, and you could see here that if you were to take a dice and you were to cut it up into different pieces, this is essentially a cube, right? You would unwrap it so that you could draw on it easily, right? See how these people are drawing on it? To draw on it easily, you'd unwrap it and draw it on that way, and then you'd assemble a paper dice that way. And they have these templates that you could use. Obviously, this one has tabs. We don't need tabs because we're not going to be gluing it together. The 3D program does that for us. All right, so here's our cushion dice, right, or paper cushion or something that we're putting together. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to select this top edge here. And you could also do it in here, right, where I select each one of these. And then same thing, stitch it. And if that looks good, you press enter. And then this time I'm going to hit Alt V and then press, oh, it looks like this one needs to be flipped too. So I'm going to undo that. Here, let's undo that. And with this, let's hit R and then 90. And let's see if that lines up. Let's see. Yeah, that comes later. I do want to see the faces. It just kind of adds a little bit. It's nice. And you could also go in here, and if you turn on UV opacity, you can increase or decrease that. All right. So if I stitch this, Let's see if it flips it. Yeah, it takes this whole thing and it puts it underneath there. So what we have to do is just highlight this whole thing, right click, and then mirror X. Or no, we want to mirror Y. And then now, let's see. No, that didn't work. Let's see. Actually, what we have to do is let's go to vertex mode by pressing 1, and then this is the way that you would mirror it. Because we're selecting the edge, and you need to be in UV vert mode or UV mode. Okay, so let's try that now. Let's do something like this, and I'm going to right click and stitch. Huh. Let's undo that one more time. Let's try, and let's try a mirror X. There we go. Oh, that's it. Because see how thick it is here and there? That's the right side. That's why it's flipping. Let's try that one more time. There we go. Now when I hit enter, you could see it mirrored it for us. And I think what it was doing was it wanted to mirror to essentially the back piece, which is over here. So we need to not only mirror it that way, because I had mirrored it before, I want to mirror it one more time on the y-axis, like that. And now when I select these and I hit Alt-V, it should snap it. Yep, that's it. So this one, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to hit Y1 there, and then you'll notice if we select this edge, this needs to be flipped because it places it on the inside. It might actually connect it to that one. So let's see, Alt-V. Yeah, see, it's connecting to that one. I'm going to hit Escape. If I do it this way, it places it on the inside. So let's go ahead and flip these. And then this time, there we go. We hit enter. You could see that there. And so the last thing I want to do is just bring this one over, this back cushion, and hit Alt and then V. Oh, that looks like it needs to be flipped too. Maybe if we do it on this side, it won't flip. No, it's still flipped. Okay, let's flip this one too. Right click, mirror X, then select this. There we go. And now we have a very cleanly laid out or unwrapped cube. So I'm going to hit S to scale this down. And I'm going to show you a trick in a moment. So this is one cushion, and that was like a long process, right? So I'm going to tab out of this, go to object mode, or actually we could leave it in edit mode here, but we'll go to layout, which will immediately put us in object mode. And I'm going to go ahead and hit Alt-H to unhide everything. I'm going to delete this one. And because this is already unwrapped, I'm just going to place it here. And we actually forgot one last step. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this and go back to UV editing mode. And you can see it added those cuts, but this isn't perfect, right? Because to be honest with you, there's curvature here, and that all needs to be accounted for. We're going to get some weird stretching. So I'm going to hit L on this, and I'm going to hit U and then unwrap angle base. There we go. And now that'll give it a little bit cleaner. But we are going to need it to, we're going to need to rotate this so that it's facing the right way. So I'm going to hit L, R, and then 90 degrees. Then I'm going to hit S to scale that down. And I'm going to place it here. And go back to layout. And then delete these two square cushions, as well as, well, this will keep it. I'll let you guys unwrap that on your own because it's pretty much the same process. But I'm going to hit Shift D, R90. Oops. Let's try that one more time. So Shift D, R, and then 90. Oh, we didn't select the axis. Sorry. So is this still duplicated? Yeah. So R, and we'll do Y and then 90. And we'll move this down here. And I'll just hit S to scale it up. There's our cushion. And you could play with the dimensions. You could say, you know what, I like it, a fatter cushion and, more narrow. You could even practice sculpting, look up sculpting tools. And then, actually, you know what, we'll do a little lesson on sculpting next. And then I'm gonna hit Shift D again, and then G, and then Z, and move that up. And then just kind of scale this whole thing down. So I'm going to hit S out here. And this could be that cushion, right? That, feel free to play with the scale of that as well. And actually for the cushion, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to hit Shift D and I'll hit escape, and I'll just move this off to the side because we're going to, if I want to teach you how to sculpt, I want it straight up and down and clean like that. So these two are now unwrapped. And if I would have not applied the modifier here, I would have just duplicated this and then placed it down here to remove the modifier, and that would be unwrapped. But the problem is they're sitting on top of each other. So if we go back to UV editing mode, what I'd like to do, because if I paint now on this one, it's going to repeat down here, right? So let me actually show you that. So let's go to texture paint, and I'm going to zoom in on that. And let's say we want to paint our cushions, right, inside of here. So let's go to object mode. I'm going to select both of these, and I'm going to hit Control J, and now they're merged into one object. Let me show you that. See, now it's cube 2, and I can call this like cushions. And if I make a new material, and I call this chair because I want all of the texture for this chair to be on one texture. And for base color, I click on that, I go to image texture, and I make a new texture, and I call this chair. And let's say we make it, I don't know, say that the chair is predominantly like this yellow color, and I hit new image, it's going to apply that there. But what happens is if I go to texture paint area, which is here, and I want to make sure I select my, let's see, where's my chair texture? We just made it. So there it is, chair. Oops, wrong one, chair. You can see here's my UVs. So if I'm like, well, I want to paint stripes going down this chair here. So let me increase my brush size. I'm using my brackets for that, or you could adjust the size here. And I'm going to hold Shift and just kind of click around. You could see it's repeating it for both. See that? And I don't want that, right? Unless you want your cushions to be the same. But let's say you want them to be a little different, right? Like, so as we're painting across this. And honestly, we could rotate this. If you want to keep them the same, we could go to edit mode here. And then I could just select this by hitting L and then hit R to rotate it. And then Y and then 180. And you could see that it does line up. And you could kind of push this in a little bit like this. Ooh, we don't want to mess with the UVs though. Let me undo that. Because we are still in UV mode or texture paint mode. So maybe we hit P and then separate by loose parts, object mode, and then just kind of, let's see, object, set origin to geometry. I know we're doing a lot here. And so rotate X 180. Oops, sorry, wrong way. R, Y 180. So you could do something like this. And then let me go ahead and rejoin this, Control J. And then that way it lines up. And if you go to texture paint, let's hit tab and go to texture paint here. Because we could paint in both views. As I'm painting down, it'll sort of line up. But the truth is, let's say we want to make this two separate ones, right? Because we want to paint like maybe a stain here on or like shadows for where the chair is sitting. Well, what I can do is go back to UV editing mode and then hit L on this cushion here and then just shift it up. And now I've got two different texture spaces for painting the chair. So, and now if I go back to texture paint mode, I could say, you know what, like this chair is not yellow. This seat's actually like an orange or something. So I'll grab my paint bucket and I'll grab like this, whatever color here. And I can click on just this. Oh no, I guess it's filling everything. The paint bucket tool really, unless you paint an area, it doesn't really, do you see how I was able to paint in these lines? It's just kind of it's kind of things that you can't just paint bucket in a UV space, but it just does the color. In Substance Painter, you can. So let's go ahead and paint all of this. And that's the top. So let's say you want to make this orange and this yellow, and you want them to both have blue stripes. Then you can go in here, pick the color blue you want, and then just sort of paint straight down like this. I'm just trying to stay on that line there. Let's see. See. I know this video is getting a little long, So I want to get into unwrapping these as well. And just pay attention. Like you could also play with these. This is paints hard brushes. This is a clone. This is like an eraser pixel art. So like if we go in here and we want to erase, it makes it look like pixel art, which is kind of cool. This is eraser soft. Let's see. Smearing, paint soft, and let's see what else they have in here. Utilities. Mask. Mask is nice because you can mask an area and then it won't paint in that area. So like I'm masking this part of the cushion here. I'm not sure why it's not letting me paint in here. Is it not selected? Yeah, I have to look at the missing stencil detected. Interesting, but it's not missing here. But anyway, if you mask that area there and we want to paint around it, like say you paint like you want a face in that cushion, and then I go back to basic brush and I just kind of start painting around here. Let's save our image too. Desktop, environment alias, and then we'll make a chair. And then we'll have to chair texture or chair albedo. Let's do it right. And then let's save the image there. But now if I go in here and let's see, grab like a paint hard. Oh, it painted over the mask area. That's interesting. Yeah, it didn't mask the way I wanted it to. That's okay. We'll take a look at that later. I'm not sure why it didn't mask out the area the way I like. So, okay, I think that's good. And, we kind of got into a little bit of texturing. And then, yeah. And then what we'll do is we'll unwrap the cylinder. And then I'll just go over the box again just for the heck of it in the next video.